All right, seems like we got a couple new Bleach character trailers. Well, for me they're new pretty much because I didn't actually record anything about the previous ones that came out. But yesterday we got Byakuya's, and it's pretty interesting to see what the characters can do here and there. However, the things that is more important about these trailers is not necessarily the characters themselves, but the information that we get for the most part when it comes to how this game will play out. So first of all, we can talk about the character, of course. I think it's pretty cool because so far we've had a pretty nice variety of characters. For example, we've seen Ichigo first. He's a pretty standard rushdown characters, hit you with the big sword, and that's it, right? Nothing too fancy. Second thing, we get like, who is it? Who was it? Was it Uryu that was the second, or was it Rukia? Regardless, Uryu is a zoner, shoots the arrows, blah blah blah. You know the deal. And then we have Rukia, who seems to be some kind of almost mid-range zoner type of character with like high mobility options, like back and forth options, and it's pretty nice. And finally we get Byakuya, right, who seems to be some kind of weird technical, maybe stance character, because it switches between the different forms of his sword and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. The thing that's really nice is that when you look at it, when you look at the big picture, there seems to be quite a nice variety. It seems to be a nice variety of playstyles, pretty much, and I think that's really cool. But also, another type of information we get from these character trailers is actually the reversal options that seem to exist for every character, right? They always talk about reverse faith or whatever. But pretty much every character in this game so far seems to have some kind of reversal move. So for example, you get like Ichigo, he has like a pretty much a standard reversal from fighting games, standard dragon punch. Just hits you, well, it's not standard in the animation, but in the function it kind of is. It just hits you, and then you can have a follow-up from it, something like that. And then you have Uryu has a parry that needs you to hit him pretty much for it to trigger. Rukia actually has a backstep that has a little bit of invincibility that follows up with a fireball, so it's more ranged than the others. And then Byakuya just seems to have, I don't know exactly what it is, but it seems to be like it's not exactly a parry or an armored move, because it seems to stop time basically, and he can kind of shoot you with the projectile afterwards. I think it just allows him to have like a more versatile range of options when it comes to that reversal move, but I don't know, it seems pretty weird. But yeah, regardless, the characters seem to have a lot of different, unique tools, unique options that exist for themselves, and I think that's really awesome. However, these trailers, as nice as they are, I have actually noticed that they do not show you everything that there is to see about every character. So for example, just Ichigo and Byakuya are great examples of that. For Ichigo, you do not see the move that is called All Out Slash in his character trailer, which I found pretty weird because it's a move that we've seen, I believe, in the gameplay overview trailer, the Byakuya versus Ichigo trailer. So they don't show that. They don't show Byakuya's different fireballs, because it seems to have different fireballs actually. Eventually you see he seems to be able to just shoot you with the laser beam. It's one of the Hados. I don't remember which one it is, but I'm sorry, I'm not a real Bleach fan. And from what I remember from that trailer as well, Byakuya also has a move that allows him to hit Ichigo and then teleport behind him and do a follow-up attack right after. You do not see that move in his character trailer either. There's also a weird red slash that one seems that Ichigo is doing, and that one seems to be some kind of universal mechanic maybe, but I'm not too sure. Again, we do not see any of these moves whatsoever. On top of that, we also notice that they show some combos here and there, some moves that are not potentially special moves, but just random normal moves that the characters have, but we don't get to have any information on those moves either. So they don't show you everything. And I think that's kind of disappointing, but also kind of exciting, because it allows me to speculate a little bit more about the system mechanics of the game, and it makes me quite curious about the control scheme of the game overall. Like, how do you, what are the buttons? What type of buttons do you have? How many attack buttons exist in this game? Because we've seen characters do different types of combos multiple times already, so potentially it's not a one button game, but maybe a 2-button game, maybe a 3-button game, not too sure. Regardless, it's pretty interesting all in all, but there's also a little bit more that these character trailers have been revealing as well, and that's the movement. So for the first trailer, right, the Byakuya versus Ichigo trailer, the problem with that trailer, the problem that I had is that it was pretty difficult to get an idea of the pace of the fights overall, because you barely see the characters moving around. There was like a split second of Byakuya running on the side, and that's it. So for these new trailer, however, you get to actually see a bit more, and it's pretty interesting. So from what I've seen, at least in terms of movement and stuff like that, the game seems to actually be more methodical and kind of deliberate, so you seem to have like some kind of rhythm to it. The comparison to, say, a game like Tekken is not so far off, but I guess I would compare it more to something like Soul Calibur instead, because, you know, Soul Calibur versus Tekken, basically Tekken is a very restricted game in terms of movement, and because of that, the movement becomes very technical in terms of how you do it, and it requires a lot of execution. Soul Calibur, on the other hand, is way more freeform, way more you know, tolerant, allows you to do whatever you want pretty much. It's kind of nice. So this game is more like that, without being like the Naruto Storm games or a Dragon Ball game with like chaotic movement. And personally, I think that's something that I can appreciate a lot. I think it's kind of nice actually, because it shows that the game has a much more methodical combat to it. The other thing that's pretty strange about the movement of the game is that there's a potential that characters may have different types of mobility. So for example, we see Rukia running around, dashing, seems pretty standard. I would say, just by looking at it a little bit, she seems to be a bit more agile, say, than a character like Uryu, for example. But that could be just my own, you know, imagination. I'm not really going to sell you on that. However, there's a clear difference when you look at Ichigo moving around, because in the Uryu trailer you actually see Ichigo walk. He's not running like the other characters who are always running while looking at the opponent. Ichigo is walking, pretty much strafing around very slowly while looking at his opponent. So there's a chance that Ichigo, compared to the other character, might have a much slower mobility compared to the others. I mean, when I say slower, probably just in terms of run speed, but not in terms of dashing around, because we've seen Ichigo do some dashes here and there, and it seems to be pretty fine. It's just when it comes to that walk animation that he seems to be pretty unique. So that's pretty cool too, right? That's another very interesting detail that we've actually seen from these trailers. The other thing that I found also pretty strange about the trailers is that they show you some of the awakenings, right? They show you some of the bankais and stuff like that. It's really nice. They even show you, for Uryu, he has a reawakening. The other things that I think are really cool, again, because we can only speculate based on the things that we see in the trailers. And I'm taking this from the new trailer, right? The Byakuya trailer. What they've shown is that Byakuya is indeed switching between the forms of Senbon Sakura. It goes from released to sealed. The thing that's really cool about the Byakuya trailer and about the forms of Senbon Sakura is that you see Byakuya using a very specific combo in that footage. But when you look at the footages from the gameplay overview, Byakuya is doing a couple new combos that do not seem to appear at all in his character trailer. But yeah, that's pretty much all the things I kind of wanted to speculate when it comes to these trailers. I mean, they're really fun and it's really nice to have them. I really hope that they show us more of those trailers, and I hope that they eventually show us the controls, because I would really like to know a couple things, like, do we have a jump button? Do we have a proper guard button, a dedicated guard button? I'm not too sure yet. I think I've seen Ichigo in the gameplay overview actually blocking and walking while blocking, but I'm not too sure. It was so fast, right? It was really hard to see anything at all. There's even a couple other reversal moves that seem to exist in the game that we still don't know anything about. Even the reverse modes, it seems to have two types of reverse modes. You have yellow mode and you have red mode. From what we've seen, yellow gives you back some life over time, but red, we don't know. And also Ichigo is doing like a red move here and there. What is that move? We don't know. We just don't know anything, basically. And I think that's really unfortunate. So of course, I'm looking forward to the future trailers of this game. I think it looks beautiful and it makes me really want to play. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Did you catch something in those trailers that maybe caught your attention? Because there's a lot of things that they show, and sometimes some people just don't talk about it. Some people just see the trailers and that's it. But I'm trying to look more in depth, trying to see if we can catch anything. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.